There's this guy named...
If you're gay, please pay.
Yeah. If you're gay, you have to pay, in fact.
If you're gay, you should pay.
Straights get it for free.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
If you're gay, you pay us, then you go away afterwards.
How fast would we be destroyed?
If that was like an authentic policy?
Yeah. How fast would our old like a Francesca somebody like that, like how fast would they sniff this out? Because they don't think about any of us anymore. But then if they got a whiff,
well, apparently they do kind of.
Oh, that's right.
She brought me up randomly.
That's
like,
right.
Well, it was probably a while ago now. At this point, it was like maybe like a year or two ago.
It was a while ago. I remember
out of nowhere. I was just like,
dude, Steve Shives. Even made a video about that, like, because she went off and said some stuff that was just not true.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I have a problem with some of those people.
Let it go, dude.
Yeah, I just want them to.
I forgot about this entirely.
Did I mention this on the podcast where it was FD Signifier? He brought up the alternative influence network.
Oh yeah.
It was that thing. I'm like, guys,
did he bring up that chart with linked to Richard Spencer somehow?
It too. And I'm just like,
wait, what? Wait. I know you.
Do you remember that chart?
I know what you brought up.
There was a Becca Lewis, I don't know. I actually don't know what her role is or whatever. But like, I remember she was she was the one who posted the viral like study or chart or whatever the fuck it was.
Chart, I guess.
Of Alternative Influence Network, and it had like a bunch of it had a bunch of political content creators. It was like Sargon and all these people, and I was on there too, and it made sense for me to be linked to certain people. It obviously made sense, but then like I remember there was a line from like me directly to Richard Spencer, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then I realized it was because I made a video about it. I guess I covered like a subject about it.
Is that? Are you trying to rationalize it?
That would be my most charitable interpretation of it. Yeah, which would still be an uncharitable reason to put me on that kind of. It really made no sense.
Because that would also make them linked to Richard Spencer too, because they clearly made. So that's why I feel like that's you being charitable, but that's just not. I guess
that's the assumption of like you being in a ballpark of content similar to them.
It's just not because it's not even
like,
similar.
That's not even. But no, it's not. It's not. But it's like.
Look,
it was dumb.
In a political
it was just
trying to rationalize it is just not. It's just. It is. There's no way to rationalize it. It's clearly inflammatory in a way that there are so many lines crossed that nobody was gonna actually detangle all the webs. Right. So you do that many purposefully. So then the people that want to believe this will just believe it. And so even people that I respect highly, like FD Signifier, there's a lot of people think he's super radical. I'm like, I don't think that. I've saw other people make videos against him.
I have a few problems with him, but
of course you can't. There is no. You will never watch anyone that you're like, oh, I love every single thing they do. Like I feel like
I have one person, but they're not political. They're not political.
That's different. I guess I'm talking about like in a political commentary sense. If you like what everybody does, and like in that sense, I feel like you're in a cult. Right? Yeah. Because if you're not pushing back against some people's thoughts, that means you don't have any thoughts of your own.
Yeah.
So the whole thing,
I have a lot of respect for him.
I love the Andy Worski one because it showed like the darker the red got, the more like the worse connections you had on that alternate. And like Worski's square's like black.
Worski's got the biggest, blackest square possible,
and which actually makes sense because for a while he
started
like
Stefan Molyneux
partnering with the what was that guy John Francois Garabé.
Yeah, JF.
And then they just brought a bunch of racists on. It was literally just that.
But it's so funny because like there I am with like the tiniest fucking dot in this like. But I'm like overlapped in like a million different ways. Like there's like you can't even
not real.
You can't even discern
the person.
If you guys are curious what this is, you can look up Alternative Influence Network, and it's like literally the first image that you find. It's just crazy.
I remember making a video about it, but like when it happened, just kind of brushing it off. Didn't go into detail about it, but just being like, this is not. Clearly, this isn't an accurate representation, but I think it's brilliant. If you are the person that made this, this is how you go about it. So nobody's going to detangle that. No one cares enough. So you just make it look that. It's extremely inflammatory. And the people that believe you, it's the same thing about, like I said, every single time, I hate talking about Gamergate, but it's the same thing. There are so many different narratives about it. Like mainstream, it's a harassment campaign against women. I never made any videos talking about harassing. That was not my point ever, or even remotely to it.
Should have done it more though.
Well, in retrospect, to fit the shoe, might as well.
Might as well.
It's so funny thinking about that time though, because you look at things now, and you look at like Andrew Tate or something, or like Nick Fuentes, and it's like that's what people thought was happening.
Yes,
but this is what's happening now, and like now it seems like no one seriously cares. And it's like, what the fuck?
Like, what happened to you guys? Like, I've seen people make videos about like a fucking Tate or whatever, and it's very casually like, oh yeah, these people suck, and then the way like I haven't seen. Like, where's the fucking alternative influence network thing for them?
Dude, I feel like the vitriol that I see now, compared to like what people are guilty of now, is like wildly like tame. Like I see people talk about Nick Fuentes like, yeah, you know, Nick Fuentes is just like he's a young guy, he's like an idiot, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, he's literally a fucking
a real Nazi,
like an actual white supremacist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember in 2016, I was like, Hillary Clinton kind of sucks. It was like, this guy's a ferocious sexist who shouldn't be on the platform. Nuke him. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
You know what I think it is?
What the hell is this? Fuck you guys.
They lost their drive, dude. I think
they got like bored or something.
I think consciously,
some of them
first
did.
and foremost, consciously,
Absolute
the country's gotten more conservative. I think consciously. I think that's kind of almost obvious.
Yeah.
I think people just lost their fire.
Y'all gotta die.
Do you think a lot of those creators, this was like kind of their introduction into being on the internet like this?
Oh yeah.
Because
probably.
Very likely.
I feel like a lot of them, like normies, were, because I considered myself a normie, but not on that sense where like I had no idea about anything.
Right.
But there was a large, like say I've name dropped Ethan Ralph so many times. I didn't know he existed, and he was one of those.
Yeah,
he was one of the people. His people were harassing the pro game or whatever. What is it?
I don't know.
I don't remember the side. Which
I
side
really
is which?
don't remember.
But like the ones, or anti, I guess, the ones that were anyway. Point being, those people existed. That underground shit. Richard Spencer was around, but I'd never heard of him before.
I remember there was like a thing going around of him at like a speech. Like in like 2015 or 2016.
I think 2016 was the first time I heard about him.
Yeah.
And he was using, look, man, it is so obvious now in hindsight that they were doing the infiltration tactics. And here's one thing that I don't know if we mentioned this on a podcast before, but any of those people, any of those people have taken zero responsibility for stoking the flames of the shit that those people have been talking about for a long time. Why people like Richard Spencer, like racists like him, have been saying, oh, white persecution, they're trying to replace us, doing all that, and everyone's like, shut the fuck up. And then when it became mainstream, like fucking MTV, BuzzFeed, and all those fucking outlets, shitting on white people almost exclusively, this was like, see, I'm right. I told you they're trying to replace us, and then all of a sudden people started to listen to him.
They fed it.
And none of them take any responsibility for that shit.
I think it's the idea
like,
that people,
there's no reflection.
People don't understand how big of a problem that became. I think we're just now really seeing ramifications of how bad that shit's become.
Yeah.
Because the idea of saying like just dunking on white people, that whole like shit, like every white person's a race, all that dumb shit like that.
Yeah, and now they're all fucking sensitive. You know, like the Tim Waltz fucking. Well, did you see that thing about Tim Waltz talking about like how I don't like spicy food, and everybody's like, it's like white people like spice, so what the fuck? It's like, I feel like that was such a tame joke to make in like 2008. No one gave a shit. You know what I mean?
Well,
it was totally fucking normal.
So basic. No one even said shit like that back then. That's like people were arguing about real shit at that point.
Well, no, they did. White people tacos have always been a thing.
Well, it's like
that's not. But that's never. Even to this day, it's not really a pejorative. Like, people like white people tacos. There's like an affectionate way to call them.
Yeah.
But like, people are so on edge now because they feel attacked all the time.
All the time.
Well, yeah, there's a reason.
We fucked up. The left completely fucked up in allowing the right to get bullied so much. That there was a bunch of colored hair people out there that were taking problems to their own hands.
They were, and
they didn't mean to. They didn't have bad intentions.
No, nobody
didn't.
They did not.
They were just
they're pockets.
The vast majority
did not have bad intentions.
Yes.
They were actually upset at bullshit that's happened through history. They wanted to talk about it.
They were just mega cringe about it.
They went about it the wrong
and they didn't understand that they should look. Bullying's great.
It's not great.
Okay,
it's not great.
No. Hold on.
I will stand against that forever.
I want to hear this. Let me hear this. Let me see if you can cook.
You have to bully for the right reasons. You have to bully people because they're wrong and they're dumb, not because they're white or they're whatever or they're like oh, you were born this way.
Things they can't control.
Yeah,
right.
You bully people because they're fucking wrong.
I think instead of bullying people, you just shut down stupidity.
That's
you bully people.
I don't think you need to be. I don't think you need to be bullied. You just to be like, oh, that's wrong, and then you explain to them why it's wrong. It's kind of like, and you don't entertain it. I think you don't like keep talking.
There was a thing for a while where people would be people were really into naming logical fallacies. Do you remember that when people would like have debates? And
yes,
they'd be like, that's a straw man. That's a this fallacy. That's a this fallacy. And I remember there was one.
Pussy. Go ahead. I fucking hated that, bro.
It was really fucking annoying.
Debate culture blew up way too much over the time. Like when we moved here, debate culture became way too big, and it was motherfuckers debating about the stupidest shit. And it's just like, instead of just being like, you're being racist.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's like I remember there was like a thing called ad hominem, right? And this stuff still exists, where you substitute an argument with an insult. Yeah, it's like okay, like. The Republicans spend actually like a lot more on deficit spending. Whatever I'm saying right now does not
exactly apply, but yeah.
But the response would be like, well, you're gay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's dumb. But then people would like confuse that where it's like, okay, they would say something and then I'd be like, hey, here's why you're wrong. A, B, C, D, all these facts. Also, you're stupid. And they'd be like, well, that's ad hominem. It was like, no, it's not. This is, I'm refuting your argument and I'm calling you stupid.
Like, you only paid attention.
Yeah. The argument isn't that you're stupid. You're stupid is the wrapping paper that I'm giving you this argument
Therefore.
in.
This is why you're stupid.
Therefore, you're a dumb bitch.
Yeah, this is the why.
I understand, but I just feel like that leads to this. I feel like that led to this.
I don't think it did. I
think it's obvious it did.
I think it's
obvious it did.
I think if it stayed at ad hominems, it wouldn't have been a problem. I think what really happened was a lot of. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with some of that, like say some of the content that exists of like talking about the problematic of whiteness or something. Mm-hmm. I think when you bring it to MTV News and all these
places
fucking outlets
that don't understand what they're talking, I agree. Yes,
to me, I feel like this content has always existed. Why are you putting it on the largest platform where people don't understand it? The people that are talking about it don't understand it.
And the people that are going to consume it don't want to see it.
They don't want to see it.
No one wants to see political commentary from MTV. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they don't want to see it on everything that we just said.
Taco Bell for breakfast.
So it was like
insane.